Welcome back to Thronebreaker. We have reached the end of this playthrough on Bonebreaker, the highest difficulty of this game. It's been quite a journey, but I have a cheesy way to win. The final battle is a load of crap, but there is a way to cheese it. Through Lyrian blacksmiths, Mahakam shield bearers, Lyrian Hajduks, and alchemists, and Aretuza adepts. Yes, there's a lot of things that we can abuse the crap out of here. So we're gonna do so. Okay, continue.
The castle of Rivia now loomed before the Lyrians. Water surrounded it on three sides, and dual defensive walls studded with podgy turrets completed its perimeter. It was famously difficult to take, and had changed hands only once. A few months before, when traitors opened its gates to the Nilfgaardians. Foreign banners waved upon the walls. The Golden Sun and General Epdahi's crest on Rivia's walls. The walls of home. There was somber silence among the troops, the glee and pride of many triumphs suddenly gone. For each knew if the Queen ordered an assault, most would lie dead by sunrise.
Your Majesty,
Began Reynard in a reassuring tone.
we needn't strike quickly. We've time on our side. To prepare would be wise. 2 months, I wager, perfectly enough. We stop supplies from getting through. They'll capitulate, I've little doubt. Or at worst, be too weak to defend the fortress.
Reynard's reasoning was sound. There was no need for urgency. Meve had the upper hand for the first time in this war.
These invaders have grown fond of Rivia Castle,
Said Meve.
so let them stay and rot. Reynard, erect road barricades and guard posts between city and citadel. Gascon, seize all boats, barges, anything that floats. Stop anything from entering from the lake. Move!
Soon Rivia Castle stood isolated from the world outside. Then an emissary from the castle brought a message for the Queen. General Epdahi wished to meet, face to face, and half the way between the citadel and the Lyrian camp.
Well, well, some general.
Smirked Gascon.
We've barely snapped the trap shut, yet he's already shaking in his knickers.
Be on your guard, Mother.
Said Willem.
Epdahi I know better than anyone here. The man always has a trick up his sleeve.
We've a few of our own. Sleeves and tricks. But I thank you for the warning and concern.
Meve proceeded to the meeting point without delay. A lone rider soon appeared on the horizon. He came adorned in rich black robes, their golden trim shimmering in stray sunbeams. She'd seen him before. In Edirn, through the megascope.
You came as I requested. Good. Very good.
I couldn't possibly refuse such a courteous invitation. Especially as compared to your previous missive. The art of diplomacy, you've improved your grasp.
Your realm fell quickly. I expended little strength in seizing it. This left me much time to study. But please, we must set aside this bitterness. I'd like to formally welcome you to Rivia, dear Queen.
I see you've readily adopted the role of gracious host in my home.
In point of fact, I've grown fond of the castle. Fortifications impressive, atypical of the north. Not so your brave soldiers, whom we shall pick off like ducks. I pity them, in fact.
Dry your eyes, General. Rest easy. I've no plans for a quick assault. I shall first wait to hear the rumbling in your bellies.
Remarkable. You truly believe you can win this war? I've not been in the north long, but have discovered something all the same. You don't grasp complex ideas. You know Nilfgaard is large, but your minds don't fathom its enormity. You see, for every army you defeat, another will come to take its place. One larger and better equipped than the one before. Even now, as we so pleasantly chat, Army Group East is en route to lift your siege. Due to arrive tomorrow. And do you know what will happen when they do? They will crush you against your own castle's walls like the maddening flea you are.
A charming analogy. But get to the point. Why'd you ask for this meeting?
For this very reason. I wish to see you with my own eyes.
They did not see enough in Edirn? Are you such an admirer of feminine beauty?
You flatter yourself. No, in you, I see an animal. Game. Prey. And as the hunt's due to start soon, I needed a more detailed image of the beast I'll be looking for.
You? On a hunt? Those delicate hands have never held spear or bow. Nout sharper than a letter opener, I wager. Tomorrow you will not be on a hunt. Tomorrow you will be at war. You best pray to all your gods you don't find me.
Without awaiting a response from General Ep Dahi, Meve pivoted and turned toward camp. Her pace was quick, despite a heavy heart.
The good book states the just always prevail.
As a rule, human fortifications aren't worth a pound of shale marshite. But this fort sure turned out all right for you.
Yeah.
One hell of a night! Ah! Ah!
We've come a long, long way. Meet your advisors. We do have high morale, so the battle will commence.
Meve's closest advisors already awaited her in the command tent. In a few brief words, the Queen gave a report of the meeting, only with great effort masking the quavering in her voice.
An army, an immense one, approaches from the west. If we meet in open battle, we stand not a chance.
Damn it! Why did no one warn me?
Our scouts were discovered, captured. It must be that.
Yes, it didn't seem right. Our way so clear, so untroubled.
We must flee? Not at all heroic, I admit, but sure as hell better than being trampled into the dirt.
Easily said, but for a problem. Our force is chiefly infantry. The army that draws near includes cavalry, several regiments. We cannot hope to escape them. We cannot hope to hide.
What do you advise?
We've two options. Capitulate,
Out of the question.
or take the castle. Tonight.
Reynard, you know me. First into the fire, and ever eager to draw Imperial blood. But that would be madness. The castle can't be taken by conventional assault, if at all. And to have but 8 hours in which to do it? No.
Rivia's walls are unassailable, I fully agree. But there's more than one way to take any fort, and this fort too.
I think I like where this is going.
I know this citadel like no one else. I know its one potential weakness. The boat landing.
Wait. That narrowest of piers between the two turrets? The one where the fishermen would land?
The same. As I'm sure you recall, Your Grace, at that narrow pier's end stands a narrow door leading straight into the fortress. A small detachment could approach unnoticed, overwhelm any sentries, and get inside.
What then?
They would need to pass through the fort to the winch in the guardhouse, open the gate for the rest of the force.
That is suicide.
Perhaps, but as options go, we have it alone.
And I'm to choose to send folk there? Most certainly to die.
You needn't choose anyone, for I volunteer, and will take only those willing to do the very same.
Bloody wretched plan.
And you've a better one, do you?
Of course. I'll go instead.
Beg your pardon? I don't.
Face it, Reynard, you couldn't sneak past a corpse. Sound like a bloody tambourine in that armour, apart from which, you're Meve's right hand. So you ought to be by her side when the fighting starts.
Firstly, Reynard, I'm grateful. Well done, my friend.
Thank you, Your Grace.
But truth be told, I did indeed hear you walking to the tent from the other side of camp. And yes, you know Rivia Castle better than anyone else. But the assault must transpire silently. Gascon will lead the force.
Understood, Your Grace.
Cheers, Meve. I'll try not to disappoint.
You won't, I'm sure. God speed you on your way, and please, try your damnedest not to die.
Gascon hand-picked his men, those most adept with daggers, not swords. Noiselessly, they glided through the dark toward the castle. the light of its lanterns blurred by the evening mist. Meve watched anxiously as the boats glided away, her heart pounding in her ears. All depended on this mission. The fate of her realms, perhaps all the North, the lives of her troops, and her own. Now there was naught she could do but wait.
Good luck,
She whispered, gazing at the fortress walls, cloaked by the dark that seemed to surround all now.
The task was simple. Sneak through the castle, defeat the guards defending the winch, barricade themselves in the tower, and open the gate for the advancing Illyrian army. And then, no one spoke of what would happen next. There was no need. Use Gascon to infiltrate the tower. Do not let Gascon die. Use your leader's ability. Custom desk. Custom metal. Easy enough, I suppose.
And just when you thought things were about to get dull.
Okay.
Knock 'em off the wall! Let's teach 'em to fly! You see to the winch! We'll hold them off! This must be it! Grab the winch! Open the gate!
The Lyrians prepared for battle, their silence absolute, in darkness, illuminated only by the pale light of the moon. Meve was restless. She paced nervously in a circular pattern, awaiting the signal they'd agreed upon.
Blast, it's taking long. Much, much too long.
Finally, a torch's faint glow appeared atop the towering walls. It disappeared, then glowed again, and one more time around. Meve leapt in the air, and as she did so, barely stifled a cry of utter joy.
They made it. It worked. Willem, it's time. Sound the horns. Attack!
Moments later, Lyrians in the hundreds burst from the trees. The Nilfgaardian defenders loaded their catapults and ballistae. They did so slowly, convinced the castle walls remained impenetrable. Then they heard chains, grinding and clinking, and the sound sent shivers down their spines. Bewildered, they watched the main gate rise as the attacking force rushed forth. General Epdahi dispatched an elite unit to take back the winch at once. Yet he saw this was in vain and all was lost when Meve rode into the castle courtyard. Meve had begun the day known as a great warrior. Yet by night's end, legend was the cloak she wore. Her shield stopped powerful blow after blow as her blade found gaps in her foe's black armor. At first, Nilfgaardians scoured the fray in search of the Queen, hoping to prove great heroes. Soon, she was their chief scourge, and they began to flee before her blade that sung their death.
Retreat! Retreat!
What was this extraordinary vigor that surged through Meve? Naturally, she wished to liberate her castle and realm, drive off the invaders, defeat the arrogant General Epdahi. But in that moment, above all else, she longed to fight her way through to the guardhouse and bring Gascon's party relief.
Follow me! Move! Move!
As she stepped through the door into the tower, the silence told Meve she'd arrived too late. Gascon's men lay slaughtered in pools of their own blood, the man himself slumped over the winch's crank. 3 arrows in his chest rose and fell with his each ragged breath. Meve tore off her cloak and pressed it against him, desperate to stem the bleeding.
Help's on the way. Don't you even think of dying.
You know...
wheezed Gascon, a slight smirk on his lips.
I always enjoyed doing things just to spite you.
Medics on the stairs in the guardhouse, steps away. heard a long, blood-curdling wail. They entered the room to find the Queen kneeling, pounding the wall with her fists, her eyes flooded with tears. Gascon lay motionless beside her, covered by her cloak. The Queen rose, her fists clenched, her shoulders rigid, her knuckles white. Her face betrayed no sorrow, no despair, just rage, hot as a forge, immeasurable.
Now's not the time to mourn.
Seethed Meve, struggling to stay calm.
Now's the time for war, for slaughter, revenge. With victory today, we'll recover our home, return to our kin and set our blades aside at last. Yet until victory is ours, they must drink. Drink greedily of Nilfgaardian blood!
The Lyrians were at the brink, near their breaking point. They'd followed Meve for thousands of miles, over snow-clad peaks, through forbidding swamps. They'd fought, survived countless battles at her side, and though their gazes were now weary, she knew they'd follow her into fire.
Your Grace, the Blackclads, they've holed themselves up in the upper keep. We went to breach the wall, alas to no avail.
Meve nodded, twirled her sword, then leapt upon a mount. Her eyes spoke pure determination.
So we'll bloody well try again.
Alright, the walls of the upper keep were illuminated by torchlight and the glow of burning buildings. Even in the dark of night, Meve could easily discern the fear-twisted faces and guardian defenders. The Queen wiped tears from her cheeks, blackened with ash, then reached for her sword. The time had finally come to drive the Blackclads out, once and for all. Reclaiming Rivia. Alright, here we go. No, not Rayla.
This is the end, Ebdahi. Do you hear me? I shall stick your head on a pike!
Nilfgaard!
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
Of course I'll manage. I trained a full week.
Necessity! Invention's mum.
I must thank you. Your fortress has superbly solid walls.
Oh, I'd be ashamed to let this beauty go to waste.
Warum?
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Enough! I do not need to hear this. Kill her!
Pointy end upwards, right? There's been a mistake. I'm no mage.
As you wish, milady.
Alright, I messed that up a bit. Just not used to this particular deck.
This is the end, Ebdahi. Do you hear me? I shall stick your head on a pike!
Diabel am Arsch.
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
Everything all right?
Pointy end upwards, right?
I must thank you. Your fortress has superbly solid walls.
As you wish, milady.
Oh, be ashamed to let this beauty go to waste.
Enough! I do not need to hear this. Kill her!
Life had me flowed, now here I'm marching proud.
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
If anyone asks, you've not seen me.
Okay, that was a stupid move on my part, actually. To the left, I should have put the Mahakam guy to the right. I fucked up. That's on me. Alright, I have one Forger, that's fine. So, I'm going to play the Lyrian Hujduke.
This is the end, Ebdahi. Do you hear me? I shall stick your head on a pike!
So I'm gonna play these Forgers and use their power along together with the Lyrian Hujduks, the Depths, the Reinforcements, and other things as well.
Oh, be ashamed to let this beauty go to waste.
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Of course I'll manage. I trained a full week.
Mm-hmm.
I must thank you. Your fortress has superbly solid walls.
Diabel, that ass.
Pointy end upwards, right?
As you wish, milady.
Enough! I do not need to hear this. Kill her!
Farmahagam! Her Majesty is exceptional.
Everything all right?
Greetings. What is it?
Fools! I'm surrounded by fools!
I only loot corpses.
Okay.
Except sometimes they're quite fresh.
There you are!
Water is the poison.
Alright, I'm gonna play this one and Black Rayla, let's see.
Farmahagam!
I saw them. No other way.
Enard Fien!
Life had me ploughed, now here I'm marching proud. Left, right, left. What now?
Alright, I'm gonna use the Lyrian Hoojdukes.
Nilfgaard!
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
Okay.
In retreat!
Not going into the fray already, are we?
Of course I'll manage. I trained a full week.
Pointy end upwards, right? Life had me ploughed, now here I'm marching proud. Left, right, left. What now? If anyone asks, you've not seen me.
Okay, I needed to play that a bit better. I guess we can play the foragers better. Okay, I'm gonna not play that. That. Not knickers.
This is the end, Ebdahi. Do you hear me? I shall stick your head on a pike!
The able of us.
Can use this. Not sure for what just yet.
I must thank you. Your fortress has superbly solid walls.
Of course I'll manage. I trade a full week.
Everything all right?
Pointy end upwards, right?
Eddard Fane!
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
Enough! I do not need to hear this. Kill her!
Life had me flowed. Now here I'm marching proud. Company! Forward march! If anyone asks, you've not seen me.
Fools! I'm surrounded by fools!
I saw them. No other way.
If the ring won't come off, just take the whole finger.
Left, right, left. What now? Nilfgaard!
Water is the poison.
Not going into the fray already, are we? Of course I'll manage. I trade a full week. Pointy end upwards, right? In retreat!
There's been a mistake. I'm no mage.
Okay.
Fian!
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
For Mahakam! Everything all right?
Let's try this.
Barbarians.
Greetings. What is it?
Not clean, but victory all the same, I think. Though it's gonna take a while, because he's gonna have to fill up all of this, you see?
Off to the front yet again.
Commissar will hear.
Brach! Scheiß! In zwei!
Off to the front yet again.
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear.
Archers, let it be night. Obscure the sun with arrows.
A highly curious case.
I warned you!
Where is he? Tell me where!
Victory. Messy victory, but victory all the same. This is an abusable deck, basically, to win pretty much every battle by using Forgers, Artusa, the Adepts, Alchemists, etc. You can also use the Mahakam guys with the Alchemists to gain even more power, because you can, the Mahakam guards can sit, you can boost their power, and then they can boost the power of any other card. OP as crap.
Nilfgaard had the upper hand, yet the black-clad spirits had suffered. They now made more use of shields than of swords. When Meve finally broke through their line, they raised their arms in surrender. Rivia Castle had fallen. It was hers once more.
Trocker! Nein to win!
Meve showed her prisoners of war mercy, knowing full well they'd only followed orders. Death would be the fate of only Ardal ep Dahi, the one Nilfgaardian who'd issued those commands. Alas, the general had disappeared. A prisoner revealed ep Dahi had fled as soon as the Lyrians had surged towards the upper keep. He had glided down to the lower castle in a wicker basket for transporting food. Curled up beneath potato skins and other scraps, he'd scurried away not unlike a common maggot. Meve cursed her luck and leaned back against a merlin. Dawn was yet a few hours off, but the horizon had already begun to glow blood red. The Nilfgaardian reserves now drew near, too late to prevent the castle's fall.
I'll get him,
muttered the queen, more to herself than anyone else.
I swear on all that's sacred I'll catch the bastard. But now we've a pressing matter to see to. Preparing the defense.
That night the war turned, with the battle for Rivia Castle as its fulcrum. Meve's great victory, not only retaking the stronghold in a single evening, but also fending off a further invading army, proved the Nilfgaardian Colossus had feet of clay. The armies of the north had united and now seemed to be on the attack everywhere. Imperial forces, while still far more numerous, lay stretched over thousands of miles. Their position was untenable, and Nilfgaard's commanders knew this. In a decisive battle, they yet stood a chance, so they gave said battle, and suffered a resounding defeat. Just a few months on from that memorable night in Rivia, the Imperial army was in utter disarray. Aldersburg, the fortress, remained a last point of resistance. General ep Dahi and what had survived of Army Group East had dug in there. This place, where Nilfgaard had triumphed grandly in the war's early days, would now bear witness to its impending defeat. It seems history, after all, has a sense of justice, or humor, or both. Though Meve had already reclaimed her realm, she refused to retire her sword just yet. For King Demavend had requested her aid in purging Edirn of the invader. How could she refuse? She owed the king a favor, firstly. Yet she also had a burning desire to settle the score with ep Dahi.
Demavend's envoy and I spoke, Your Majesty. The king has Aldersburg surrounded. He awaits and won't begin the assault till you arrive.
Good. I truly hate to miss it. Tell the troops to prepare. Gear and ire.
Of course, Your Grace.
Yes? Is there something else?
Pardon my boldness, Your Grace, but I can't help but be concerned. You don't sleep. You have the air of illness about you.
I think back to that night in Rivia often, to Gascon's death. Perhaps I made a mistake. Perhaps he didn't have to die.
He didn't, Your Majesty. He needn't have been there at all. I'm a soldier. I swore to serve you. Gascon, not so. He might have left at any time. Guilt, pity trouble you, your grace, I know. But he signed on willingly and knew exactly what for. Gascon gave his life for he thought you worthy of it. There's no greater proof of friendship, no greater gift one can give. Accept it, your grace, and remember him with gratitude, not sorrow.
You're right. I thank you, Reynard. That I needed to hear. We've talked enough. We must march on to Aldersburg.
Your grace, if I may. Some of our comrades in arms would like a word with you. The war nears its end. Paths are likely to diverge.
I see. Thank you. I shall stop by the mess tent later.
Oh, look, 'tis Meve, slayer of the...
All right. And so we have come to the war's end.
Yes, your grace?
The war nears its end. What next for Reynard Odo?
Whatever you command, your grace.
Ugh.
Is something amiss, my lady?
To be perfectly blunt, I've no wish to give you orders anymore.
Your grace? Would you wish me to leave? Remove me from the court?
No, Reynard. I'd wish you to stay. But I'd no longer wish to be your queen alone. Do you catch my meaning?
I do, Meve. I do.
It's time I attended to what...
Your grace?
The war nears its end. What next for you, Sir Ake? Will you remain in my ranks?
Boundless is my gratitude for the offer, your grace. But alas, I cannot accept.
You'll return to your path then? Set off to hunt monsters?
Forsooth, though not at once. First, a more daunting challenge awaits. I must go home. I was certain Siegfried and I would never reconcile. That he would forgive me never. But to behold you and Willem find common ground again, it rekindled dead sparks of hope that I too could span the rift. When I joined your force, I believed I would serve as an example to you and your troops. I see now I was mistaken. For 'twas you who taught me a lesson. I dare say, the most valuable of my life.
I thank you. And good luck, Sir Ake. I shall think often of you and your son. Farewell, Ake.
I'm pleased to see...
The war's near its end. The future, what does it hold for you, Isbel? Wise counsel will always find a place at my court.
A tempting offer, ma'am. So be it. I shall stay. But I've one condition. You're never to force me to wear shoes.
Ha! These terms I can agree to. Duty called.
Of course.
Huh? What is it now?
The war nears its end.
Sadly.
Sadly, why?
I survived. Again. Rebuild your land, Queen. Enjoy your life. Me and my men, we'll be moving on.
Arnulf, in Lyria and Rivia, your past matters not. Nor does your shame. Stay.
What about after? What do I tell my ancestors when the time comes? I yearn to sit at their table, lass, and drink mead in their company, so go I must.
So long, Arnulf.
Always good to see the Queen. How can I help you?
Our conversation in Mahakam. Do you recall it? When you resolved to join my force, leave your homeland?
Of course. Clear as day, that. You saved me and my clan. I'm in your debt. Will be for some time.
Well, we've won the war. And you had a hand in the victory. Heavily so. As I see it, you've more than repaid your debt.
Feeling a wee bit choked up, as King Desmond said when an assassin's bolt ran clear through his esophagus. Come here and give us a squeeze.
Later, perhaps. But Gabor, any plans for what comes next?
Ha! I wasn't expecting to have this chat, so I'm a bit caught with my knickers down past my knees.
War's over, but we've much left to do. Our relations with non-humans, for instance. I mean to improve them. And I think you could help, Gabor, greatly so.
Meaning, you'd like me to stay in your court? I'd see it as an honour, Your Majesty. An honour true.
We shall return to this...
No skin off my...
Yes, Mother?
We shall speak...
Yes?
War's nearly over. What will you do? Where will you go?
The war against Nilfgaard, perhaps. But others drag on, and will continue to do so.
What do you mean? What war will persist?
Scoia'tael survivors still hide in the forests.
Yes, but I've heard they retreat to the east. Simply let them go. Let them leave our lands. Why ever not?
To see them return even stronger? No. We must slit their throats, one and all. Now. Crush them like worms beneath our boots.
Rayla, at some point one must admit there's been pain enough. One must put away the bloodlust.
I shall do so in my grave, and not a moment sooner.
I must go.
Well, that's it. It's a small map.
The Lyrian army had grown into a great serpent. So much so that riding at the column's tail, Meve could not see its head. Footmen, cavalry, and archers stretched like a glistening snake between two horizons. Meve had come a long way indeed, and she felt proud, as did Willem riding at her side. At first, the troops had eyed the prince suspiciously, if not with hatred. But they'd watched him fight for weeks now, and saw him as one of their own. Suddenly, Meve heard angry cries and the clash of steel against steel, all at the column's front.
Close ranks! To the left! March left! Support the flank!
Meve drew her sword, spurred her horse, and galloped forward along the line of troops. Then, through the swirling battle dust, she spotted shimmering golden suns.
Surround them!
101, 102, 103.
As you wish, milady.
Can use this. Not off the lock just yet, but...
$152, 154.
I'll fight to my last breath.
Scrubbing duty again? Oh, gods.
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
Not going into the fray already, are we?
New orders? No? Ah.
Course I'll manage. I trained a full week. Life had me ploughed, now here I'm marching proud. Not going into the fray already, are we? course I'll manage. I trade a full week. Life had me ploughed, now here I'm marching proud. Nilfgaard!
For Mahakam!
In retreat!
Greetings. What is it?
Left, right, left. What now?
Okay.
Rach! Scheiß! In! Trade!
What's a helmet if not a pot turned over?
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
I only loot corpses, except sometimes they're quite fresh.
We must trust each other.
Alright, one more deserter.
Off to the front yet again.
Mercy! Have mercy!
Normally disciplined, determined to an extreme, these Nilfgaardians quickly broke rank and ran.
Deserters! Leaderless, Your Grace.
A scout reported.
Headed south they was, towards the frontier.
Chained prisoners now sat along the dusty road. Meve stopped in front of one. He was ragged and unshaven. Flies had taken an interest in his poorly bandaged hand. Spotting the Queen, he lowered his head and quivered with terror.
I know you take us for savages.
Began Meve, her gaze passing over several scraggy black-clads.
But fear not. We shan't flay you alive nor eat you for dinner. And when a truce is signed, you'll be sent home. Where I most sincerely hope you'll stay this time.
As the Queen mounted her horse, she barely concealed a grimace. Her thighs were sore and chafed, her hands raw from the reins. But she bit her lip and rode on, for the prize was now very near.
Was in orders, but... Was in Aldersburg when it fell. Broke my heart, that did. But not complete. Now we'll take it back.
Alright, well, we're almost there.
Long live
Liberator!
Oh, we're liberators now. You heard that, lads?
All's left is to drive the Blackclads from Aldersburg and the war.
Meve noticed one of her scouts, a certain Corporal Larkin, halt his mount and train his gaze on the woods.
Your Grace, I thought I heard something, could have sworn. A whisper, maybe, but... nothing now. It's all gone quiet. I think I might have imagined it, in fact.
Imagined?
Meve placed her hand on his shoulder.
No one has sharper senses than you. If you claim to have heard something, it's worth a closer look.
Corporal Larkin saluted, then rode past the trees. Suddenly in shadow, he keenly scanned his surroundings. Something caught his attention. He dismounted, then brushed aside ferns, exposing tracks made in the mud.
Your Majesty!
He shouted, quickly turning towards the road.
Sound the alarm! It's squirt!
An arrow whisked through the air, pierced his throat, and suddenly silenced him. Then the forest came alive with cries in the Elder tongue. Elves on the attack.
All right.
It's a trap! 2 arms!
I told you it'll never end.
Special prize. Just for you, love. Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this. Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Life had me ploughed, now here I'm marching proud.
Yorby! As you wish, my lady.
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
Swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn.
Left, right, left. What now?
Your tricks will not save you, Dwan.
Discipline shall bring us victory!
For Mahagam!
I shall not fail! Not going into the fray already, are we?
None shall tread on us!
Oh, I'd be ashamed to let this beauty go to waste.
I only loot corpses, except sometimes they're quite fresh.
A storm is coming. Let's enjoy the weather while we still can.
Hey, hey, don't toss that. It's perfectly usable.
Well, I was kind of hoping the blacksmith would actually do the thing. Okay.
It's a trap! 2 arms!
I told you it'll never end.
Show me the coin or sod off.
I only loot corpses, except sometimes they're quite fresh.
Left, right, left. What now?
Water is a poison.
There's been a mistake. I'm no mage.
Well, I royally cocked that up. Wrong ability. I wanted to use the alchemist ability to set to set the strength of the Mahakam guard.
It's a trap! 2 arms!
I told you it'll never end.
Got business for me?
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
Not going into the fray already, are we?
Everything all right?
Greetings. What is it?
Water is a poison.
Let us sing the song of steel!
Oh, I'd be ashamed to let this beauty go to waste.
I shall not fail!
Oh my.
Of course I'll manage. I trained a full week.
Death to humans!
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Everything all right?
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
You'll never take me alive! None shall tread on us!
Pointy end upwards, right?
I only loot corpses, except sometimes they're quite fresh. If the ring won't come off, just take the whole finger.
It's over.
Renner, stop! We surrender!
The Scoia'tael fighters stood no chance against Meve. When the sounds of battle finally ceased, the Queen, victorious, tossed aside her arrow-studded shield. She then ordered the commando's leader brought before her. She'd expected a ranter who would turn up his nose, spit in her face, and cry, "Death to all Dwan!" But the bloodied elf before her was no arrogant firebrand. He averted his gaze, and his lips gently trembled.
Youthful you look, elf. How many summers to you? 30? More?
27, my lady.
27. A wonderful age. A shame to die so young.
I beg you, Renna. For mercy, I ask. If not for me, then at the least for...
Mercy? You jest. You wait in ambush, come at us like bandits, and now you dare ask for mercy.
It was no ambush.
Don't play me for a fool. I know what I saw, and I'm no stranger to warcraft.
It's not you we wished to fight. Sverre.
Then who killed Corporal Larkin, Werebubs?
When we saw you on the high road, we fell back and hid in the wood. We wanted you to pass. Your scout's hearing very keen. He heard something, then spotted our tracks. You must understand. We had no choice.
You know you might have surrendered.
Like Dristan's commando. Is that what you mean? They laid down their arms before an Edirnian general, who ordered them hanged. One and all. If we're to die, we prefer to die bows and swords in hand.
Why are you here? Were you to rescue Epdahi?
Rescue someone? No, Renna. We flee. The Nilfgaardians have realized they'll lose the war and have renounced us. Without their support, we stand no chance. Demavend has loosed his hounds. They hunt our units one by one. He's offered 50 gold pieces for the head of each Scoia'tael. It's the same in Temeria and Kedwen, if not worse. We wish to join with your Veth's unit, flee together as far as we could. It was our last hope.
Why do you tell me all this?
Because you listen still. You've not ordered me killed, so... you've clearly a heart. Eseth Aina Edu.
Elves often speak beautiful words. But it's for their deeds you must judge them, Your Grace. The Moulderwood, remember what you saw.
I beg you. So few of us remain. All tired, all wounded. We pose no threat. Let us leave your realm. Let us flee.
Enough senseless killing for one day. So be it. You're free to leave.
I don't know how to thank you.
Make certain I don't ever regret this decision. 'Twould be thanks enough.
Your Majesty, they attacked us, came at us unprovoked.
Truly, Rayla. Unprovoked. Because it seems to me, we've provoked them for years.
I thank you. For your compassion. Towards me and all my folk.
Meve personally unfastened the prisoner's chains as her Lyrians looked on in silence. They did not approve, this was clear. Their displeasure was palpable.
Enough murder. And yes, it is murder to kill prisoners of war. I don't have a good opinion of the Scoia'tael. I really don't. But... I do not believe that you answer racism with a fucking sword and by butchering men, women, and children.
The good mothers
What would the
guided
Scoia'tael
you
have
to
done?
victory, Nilfgaard.
I think one of the points I actually made in Blood of Elves is that although things were not exactly great between the humans and non-humans before the war, they had coexisted. It was really with the Scoia'tael that things got a lot worse. And this is actually in the first book of the fucking saga. It's not some random act.
We will win all anew. Treat yourself to our new
And the point is made by a by a dwarf, actually, if I recall correctly. Damn it.
It'd be an honor to fight at your side, Majesty.
The Lyrian corps neared Aldersburg, and it could not have been on a more idyllic day. The sun shone, birds sang, trees rustled in a light breeze. But Meve saw it as she had at the war's start. Walls illumined by a fire's glow, the cries of fleeing civilians, the stench of burning flesh. As on that day, Aldersburg was under siege. Yet this time, Eden's flags fluttered in the field, while Nilfgaard's tattered sons crowned the fort's towers. The Queen found Demoven's tent without difficulty. Made of sheets of silk edged with silver thread, it positively shone.
Seems the realm's restored to a virtuous path,
muttered Meve.
Aha! There she is! Queen Meve, Saviour of the North, the Sun Slayer.
Mockery I don't appreciate.
I wouldn't dare. Not my words, those. You've been painted thus in song. Master Dandelion himself wrote a ballad, The Battle for the Bridge. If you take the bard at his word, you're as fierce with a blade as any witcher.
Is that jealousy I hear?
To be perfectly honest, Meve, it is. For I hadn't the pluck, nor resolve. And when all the North tucked tail, went to shite, you alone stepped up and bared your fangs. Let it be a lesson for the future to us all.
You called out the future. Tell me, how's your son?
Baldwin. Ah, growing like a weed he is. And the spitting image of his old man.
Good news all, especially given the mother's profession.
She's now Countess Demeretta of Gullet, a lady of the court.
Your lawful wife must be thrilled.
Hard to say in truth. I've not seen her in some time. Duty keeps me away, you understand.
You work hard, I'm certain. Many a night, too.
You might say so indeed. But enough about me. As we're chirping away like two gossips in the field, do tell me, what of Willem?
He's here with me.
Ah. In chains, perhaps?
No. In coronet and robes. We came to an understanding. What's past is past. A lesson for the future? What do you mean?
My dear, this war won't change a bloody thing, you know. Nilfgaard will be Nilfgaard, the North the North. We'll sign a truce, the Blackclads will turn tail towards home. But the old borders don't satisfy us so.
I'm perfectly satisfied with them, thank you. And I just wish other folk would respect them too.
Ah, Meve. You're one hell of a warrior. But you're no strategist at all. Your perspective, you've got to broaden it. Nilfgaard, we cannot allow it to regain strength and spirit. Else we'll face another invasion within a decade or two. Measures are required. Preventive, preemptive, whatever the learned call it. Build an army, a vast one. Wait in ambush. And when they least expect it, break their bloody spine. Just think, if we were to join forces...
Enough. I don't wish to hear it. Won't even entertain the thought. I'll help you take Aldersburg, but then I'll go home, where, God's willing, I'll live to a ripe old age.
As you wish. We can mount the assault at any time, but...
But?
My scouts report a small Nilfgaardian force approaching from the south. They've stayed off the roads, moved only under the cover of night, escorting someone.
Who?
I've no notion. Could be a mage. Devilishly unpredictable, that lot. Could wreak havoc in our ranks. Either way, before we rush at the walls, we must make certain they don't reach Aldersburg at all.
I shall see to it.
Are you sure? You've just arrived. Must be weary after the long journey.
An understatement if I ever heard one. But I wish all this to be over, quickly.
Meve set out after the Nilfgaardians immediately, a cavalry escort in tow. Her unmatched scouts, who had led the army through the mountains of Mahakam and Angren swamps, quickly found the enemy's trail.
This way, Your Grace! There's not far now!
That very same day, Meve's force caught up to the mysterious black-clad unit. Lyrian riders surrounded the foe, forcing the Nilfgaardians to halt. All fell so quiet, the creaking of taut Lyrian bowstrings could be discerned.
The common tongue. Which of you knows it?
I do, Your Majesty.
You also know who you deal with, I see. What is your name?
Kaldvin, Your Majesty.
At last. A Nilfgaardian name I can pronounce. So, Kaldwin, It seems this war will reach its end in 2 days' time at the most. 'Twould be silly to die today, wouldn't you agree?
It would, milady.
Precisely. I've spilled enough blood. I've lost the appetite for more. So, provided you don't give me a good reason to kill you, you'll walk away with your lives. Now tell me. You carry something for General Ebdahi. What is it?
A letter.
Urgent to the point of insanity, it must be. Who wrote it? The dear Madam Ebdahi?
No, Your Majesty. The Emperor.
My. A letter from Emir himself. You must be an important person. A noble, or... Yet your uniform is simple, with no discernible distinctions. Who are you truly, Coldwin? A spy?
A simple messenger, Your Majesty.
Don't lie. I know messengers, how they travel. Alone, armorless, atop a swift steed. You're escorted by cavalry of the heavy sort.
For I often carry orders the recipients don't wish to perform, thus the escort.
Give me the letter.
I've sworn to deliver it to General Ebdahi, or to die in the quest to do so.
Oh, very well. My translator shall read this letter, then return it to you. You shall break no vow, and who knows? You might even survive.
And if I refuse?
Guess.
So be it. I accept your offer.
Meve's translator cracked the seal and read. And as he read, his eyes grew wide as saucers. Then he whispered in the Queen's ear.
Truly. And you're certain you're not mistaken? The wonders of this world. Coldwin, consider this your lucky day. I allow you to complete your mission, with one proviso.
And that is?
That when you hand him the letter, you will give the General my regards.
As Caldwin and escort set off towards Aldersburg, the Lyrian soldiers looked at their queen with disbelief. To leave a Nilfgaardian to fulfill a secretive task. Meve failed to stifle a rather mean laugh. They'll understand tomorrow, she thought. General Ebdahi had prefaced Lyria's and Rivia's invasion with a series of arrogant demands. The Nilfgaardian had been impudent, as he had felt sure he'd achieve a quick and decisive victory. Yet several months on, he too received an ultimatum. One signed by Emperor Emir var Emreis himself. The missive was concise and left no room for interpretation. With General Ebdahi dead, the Nilfgaardian army descended into chaos. The kings of the north, united, took advantage and struck at the foe. Their victory was complete. The Nordling forces cheered their commanders and monarchs, but for none so vehemently as the one queen among them. Many dream of achieving the impossible. Meve had done it. Through wit, determination, and boldness, she had thwarted the Nilfgaardian invasion. The queen would rule for many more years. Stern, yet ever just.
Ha! So a lass saved the North from the Blackclads?
That is one way to put it.
Well, I'll be damned. And a chap, she find herself one in the end?
Leave it be. Bloke's been spinning the tale all night. Story's done. Time we got some shut-eye.
Yes. Particularly as we've yet a long road before us.
Phew. Throat must be parched as old leather after all that. Except, I'm itching to know what happened to the lot of them. Reynard, Gascon.
Ah, very well. Whom shall we start with? Willem? He worked hard to regain his mother's trust and respect. Took on many daring missions, regardless of the risks. The lad who Nilfgaard had wielded as a tool now sowed terror along its borders, and appeared a successor most worthy of Meve. Gascon was buried with honors of the most refined yet mournful sort. His peer lords themselves bore the casket, soldiers in parade dress beat the funeral drums, and a new stone figure appeared beside the Brossard family vault, the very pointer from their crest, a ducal crown upon its head. Though Nilfgaard owed its defeat chiefly to Meve, in the Empire her name was uttered with utmost respect. Returning soldiers spoke in awed tones of her courage and generosity, referring to her as Gvedin, the tenacious one. With the advent of peace, tensions waned. Lyria's and Rivia's disparate races seemed to live harmoniously, side by side. The Queen pressed for new laws aimed at curbing oppression. They were a step towards more enlightened rule, yet sadly were habitually broken. And Meve? As I said, she ruled with an iron hand, not fist. Reynard ever at her side, tempering, supportive. No longer a general and trusted advisor, he had to the Queen become something more. Much, much more. And now, if you'd allow me...
Course. Leave him be, lads. Let him get some rest. Till the time comes for the next tale.
And so it's over. Well, hope you all enjoyed it. Costin signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications, and stay tuned for more.